they surveyed teachers in California.
Okay.
And they asked the teachers, they said, okay, in 10 years, are you going to be a teacher? And 50% of them said that no, I'm going to retire or I'm going to find a new career. 50% of current teachers in California.
So I'm going to ask you a question, Mr. Becker.
Mm-hmm.
In 10 years, are you going to be a teacher?
Oh, my goodness.
Welcome to the Gamify Education Podcast.
I swear, as soon as we start recording, my nose starts just running like a faucet.
Why?
I don't know.
Nervous? Is that a
Is
twitch?
that a thing? Do you like
Could be.
Nervous flow from the nostrils? Well, I will just, every time I need to wipe my nose, I'll cut the camera to you in the edit. So
I hope I'm saying something good.
Yeah, I hope so too. Maybe just a good reaction, like one of these. Ooh. All right, Mr. Becker. Welcome to episode 3.
You didn't do the...
Oh, sorry. Welcome, Mr. Becker. This is episode 3. We are here again in my shop, just enjoying a lovely spring break morning. It was chilly last night.
Too cold.
I know, it was cold last night.
Goodness.
I ran the heater in here, and there's still a chill in the air. If you see me put a jacket on midway through, just know it's because I'm chilly.
My teeth starts chattering.
So if you're watching this online, if you're not a listener, you're watching this, you've probably noticed our sweet Garm. Mr. Becker and I both have our Gamify Education. Let me turn to the camera. Gamify Education swag on. And we have had this kind of symbol, this logo of the coin since the beginning because we are nostalgic. And we grew up playing games with coins like this, and the whole 8-bit pixelated thing is just something that like brings us joy. And so we wanted to bring it to the branding of Gamify Education. However, I do think that there is a bit of a initial reaction that people get when they see this branding, which is to think that Gamify Education is like a tech company or a company that is building video games. What do you think that most people think about Gamify Education the first time they hear it or the first time they see our branding? What are your thoughts on this?
Well, especially like the retro font and things like that. I think they do think of Nintendo. Right. Or something like that, like you're playing old school Zelda. But that's not at all what we're trying to do. We're just trying to get it so that we have this idea of fun within the branding. Right. But it is in no way like video games.
Right.
I wish I could design video games. That would be fun.
It would be fun.
But I don't think I'd even use it in school, right. Even if I could do it.
So there's this really viral clip going around of a Senate hearing, and there's a former educator who became a neuroscientist, and he is talking about how like learning on screens is really problematic and how it's destroying like children's attention spans. And we talked about screens in the last podcast. And so I want to kind of like just be very clear from the start. Gamify Education is not about getting kids more screen time. And in fact, it's the exact opposite. We were having this conversation yesterday after our podcast because I said, well, I think most people think when they hear the word gamify, they're thinking of video games. So why do we have this strong connection to video games, and why are we Gamify Education and not something that would maybe have a little bit more of a clear picture of to what our company is or what our mission is with what we're doing?
I think we have to keep in mind like who we're trying to help the most, and that is the students.
Sure.
And the students are really into video games.
Right.
So if we can kind of almost trick them into thinking that what we're going to do is something that they love doing, then we're going to hit them where they're at. And I think that's really important. But like games, I mean, you play football, you play basketball, those are games. You open up a box and there's dice and markers and a board. I mean, that's a game. I don't think we're lying to anyone by saying that we're gamify education as much as it might come off with like the retro video game font.
Right. And games are not just valuable to like human learning and human development. Like games are foundational. Like when we talk about like learning through play,
Right.
that's what we do. Like
think about a kid that if they had like no, like, how can I say this? Like external stimuli of impacting them, like growing up, like certain confinements. And you just let, and this is going to sound too simplistic, but you just let kids be kids.
Sure.
They're going to run outside and they're going to start playing. They're going to make a game out of it. They're going to make a game of like, okay, my daughters, they got some roller skates and they were making games up all the time. Like they were swinging each other from the clothes yesterday.
Yeah.
And that was a game. And then there was a safe place, like a base. And I just saw a game happen that they just made up with no rules. So yeah, this is definitely something that's part of us by nature.
And so what we really are doing is we're taking the mechanics from video game design and we're applying those in an analog way to the classroom. Because when you talk about the whole structure of leveling someone up and then earning the XP, all that developed through video games. Early on with some of the early RPGs, and then really got like solidified in the 90s with like the Final Fantasy series and things like that. But that doesn't mean that
Fire Emblems.
Yes, you love Fire Emblems. I think the first game that I played that was kind of like that was probably Final Fantasy VII. Yeah, Final Fantasy VII. But all that aside, we are not putting kids in front of a game-based learning like Prodigy, or that's not even game-based learning. That's a how would you define Prodigy within this space? Because Prodigy is kind of one of those Prodigy is an interesting program. Typical is the wrong word because they're not game-based learning. They are having the kids go through a video game and then they're having to just solve like naked number math problems to unlock things within this video game. What is that?
I think that this is the big difference. And people who are going to not buy into what we're trying to sell might have this like misunderstanding that we are more like that. So in Prodigy, and I haven't played it a lot, so I mean, I could be wrong. I see it on my students' screens sometimes, and then I yell at them to get off of me.
Just like the coach from Miracle.
Right. But what I think it is the reverse of what we're trying to do. So they're trying to get kids to learn math by having them walk through a video game first. So they're in this world and then they go to these different places and then they can battle or then they have to do some practice problems to get more energy to get back into the game. And our belief is the opposite. We're going to do the hard math, and then we'll give them a reward after they do it. So we're not changing the math in any way. Like if they still have to use an algorithm, something really boring, they still have to use the algorithm.
Right.
They're not seeing video games within the math problems.
Right.
And I think that's the big difference between the two.
Yeah. And the other thing that I think that's really important to understand is that these mechanics are not, they are so adaptable. Like the thing about like a program like Prodigy is like you're basically like on a one path through this like game that they've designed. That is not what a classroom game is at all.
And I think that's the problem, is because they're constant getting this video game feel all the time, and that's not solving the problem of getting them off of screens. You're just doing it more,
Right.
which is completely opposite of what we're trying to do. We give them an XP token
Sure.
for like a full day's worth of doing math problems.
Right. And I think there's another important clarification is when I was thinking about what you just said, like students need to do math problems to unlock things within Prodigy, right? That is not what gamification is. Gamification is a reflection of what they've learned. And it's a reflection. They only really get to have advantages in the game if they've proved that they've learned something new, or if they've proved that they've gained knowledge. And this is not about just practice. It's not about like that. Like I think best use scenario for a program like Prodigy, and I'm not by any means saying like Prodigy is a bad program, and we're not trying to put them down or get sued by Prodigy, but the best use case scenario for that is like as a review tool for computation work. That's not what this is. That's not what we're doing here. We're not in the same market. We're not competitors. We're in completely different spaces and realms.
But I think like ultimately the goal is the same. Like,
yeah, get kids engaged in learning, for sure.
To have them learn. I mean, kids are engaged in Prodigy.
For sure.
And I think that they are practicing skills. They might become better at math.
And maybe here's the big difference. My goal when I'm really good at running a classroom game is to get kids engaged in learning they don't want to do, to make them do the things that they normally would be like, this is boring. This is no fun. Like, whereas generally like math is not the most difficult subject to get kids engaged in, I have found. Like for me, well, you're a math teacher, so you have a different perspective, but in elementary school, math is not the one that it's difficult to get kids engaged in. For me, it is far more difficult to get kids engaged in writing, to get kids engaged in conversations that are on a topic. Mathematics seems to be something that the majority of my students that I have taught have really enjoyed, and they want to do math because it's, cognitively engaging.
See, I think that's true. But then as you do get older, I think some of these kids, like, they realize that they have these huge gaps.
Yeah.
Like I even have we were talking about quotes. I have a quote wall in my room.
Yeah.
And one of my students this year said, math would be a lot more fun if I was good at it. And I put it up on her quote wall with her permission, of course.
That's profound.
I know.
And if you really want to boil down what we're doing here, is we're getting kids to understand that they can be good at things. We're giving them that spoonful of sugar, makes the medicine go down, and then once they realize that they can start doing things, it's a snowball. And then that success is a positive feedback loop of effort then. So those little wins start producing more little wins, and then that motivation builds. And so this whole time we've had this word motivation built into everything that we do. And we've been very purposeful about that. We've had conversations recently about shifting the focus of our entire company to behavior, shifting everything because this is such a need in education. But I really do think that at the core of what we're doing, we are still motivating. And we can fix a lot of things through proper motivations. Because really what behavior management is motivational management. What you're doing is motivating students to do the thing that you want them to do. Very simply put.
I mean, if the kids are if they're doing what you want them to do, then you are going to have less classroom disruptions or things like that. And then ultimately more learning is going to take place.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about like engagement. If your class is engaged in an activity, they're not engaged in the behaviors you don't want them to have. And so if they're engaged because they want to earn XP, what's wrong with that?
Some people say it's because you are making this all extrinsic.
Okay, so I'm going to push back on that a little bit.
Uh-huh. Well, I didn't say it.
No, I know. I'm going to push back.
There's other people that say it.
No, I understand. But you're going to be that person for a second.
Oh, okay.
Okay. What are they getting? So let's say that a student finishes a quiz, they show they're proficient, and they earn 15 XP.
Mm-hmm.
And I give them a 15 XP chip that they then turn in at the end of the week to help level their character up. What did they get?
You cheapened it.
No. You answered a different question.
What? No,
I asked, what did they get?
Oh, they got a token.
Well, they turned it in, so they had to give it back. What did they get?
A higher number.
Okay. So what did they get from that?
Nothing.
How's that different than a grade?
It's not. Grades are extrinsic too.
Okay. So what do you get for a grade? I agree. Grades are extrinsic. What do you get for a grade? So what do you get for having a 4.0?
In high school?
Yeah.
Valedictorian?
Sure. Scholarships?
Maybe scholarships?
Sure. Yeah. So what do you get then for your level in the game?
At that point, money?
No. In our classroom games, what do you get for then having a high level in a classroom game? At the end of the year, when it's all said and done.
I don't understand. Are we saying like this is the same as the valedictorian gets to say, hey, we were the valedictorian, and the person that has the highest
level? I'm saying that grades and levels aren't the same. I mean, they're similar, but there's a huge difference here. Grades have real world ramifications.
Well, maybe
they do and they don't.
High school transcripts.
Yeah, absolutely, they do.
Not Math 7 grades.
But they do. They don't have the prefrontal cortex yet to be able to understand, or that they're so flooded with hormones that they can't see past what's right in front of their nose. They do. Because everything has a knock-on effect, because the deeper they dig themselves in a hole, the harder it is to get out. I mean, you said it recently. The flood of Math 95 students that these universities are about to have is going to be a boon for them. They're going to make so much money off of the amount of students having to take an extra year of college because they didn't learn math in public school. So, in gamifying your classroom, a student gets an XP token for showing that they were proficient on a learning target. They turn that in for a level. Their character levels up. What did they get?
Do you want me to say nothing?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Well, nothing. You don't have to say nothing. Did they get something tangible?
Well, they got something tangible, but then they turned it in.
Yeah. Did they walk away with something tangible? Did they leave the year with something
Is a title tangible?
No. Because if you walk away from high school and all you left with was a title and you've never done anything with it, it doesn't matter. Like, I graduated high school like magna, one of the Loudies. I don't know. What's a 3.8?
Magna cum laude.
Sure. And I barely showed up to class. I showed up to class. No, I showed up to class. I took AP class. I was not a bad student in high school. I was a bad student in middle school. I really had to turn things around in middle school. I had to wake up. It was 8th grade that I woke up, Mr. Becker.
That's impressive. You were able to.
I just decided I was going to work.
But didn't you have like gaps then? Because you hadn't been working hard?
Yeah, I was a Math 9.5 student in college. I told you this.
Yes.
And again, I had gaps just from my math education in general. But as far as like the standard for what we were were expected to do back then was so low compared to what it is now. We had no math SBA back then. We had no math standardized test. It was just getting through math classes. So I was able to get through algebra. I was able to get through geometry. I was able to get through AP statistics and pass those classes. Now, the amount that I retained or understood was fairly low because I was operating at a procedural level. But today, that's not the case. You have to be able to show proficiency in those skills to be able to pass high school. I mean, or you can, they have alternative routes, but that's the desired outcome, right? So when you leave your classroom, you get an XP token, you get that level, you leave, let's say you leave 5th grade, and you essentially just leave with a sense of accomplishment. That's what you take with you. I would call that intrinsic motivation. I'm sorry. Like, what more is there for intrinsic motivation than a sense of accomplishment?
I think the fact that the kid should have just wanted to learn from the very beginning. Like, you didn't have to motivate them just for the love of learning, the quest for knowledge. Like, that's what some people are saying is like, you're cheapening the education system because kids should just naturally want to learn.
Now, here's where I'm going to put on my behavioralist hat.
All right.
Because I've actually been doing a lot of research on this lately. I've been writing this book just about how to kind of adapt the behavior systems that we have to make them more effective. I've toyed with turning it into a book. We've talked about doing some sort of podcast segment about it on here. Right now, I'm about 8 chapters in, which probably puts me about 2/3 of the way done with, some extra. I need to do a lot of additions and revisions, obviously. But I've kind of put a pause on writing because I think it might be better as a podcast. But in that research, like, we talk about this idea of intrinsic motivation and what are people intrinsically motivated to do? It's the things that they have aptitude towards. Like, very, very few individuals find something that they can't do the first time, the second time, the third time, and then just keep doing that thing because they're intrinsically motivated to do it.
And that they enjoy doing it too.
But the enjoyment comes from positive reinforcement. And so you talk about, my wife is like an exceptional reader, like a superhuman reader. She can read, 400 pages in a night. And that's not an exaggeration from a novel, like a scary fast reader. She was an exceptional reader as a kindergartner. She loves reading.
Right.
But she also had a natural aptitude towards it. Her dad was a teacher. Her dad really fostered that and praised her for that reading and that love of reading and really supported her and pushed her into that. So does she intrinsically love reading or extrinsically love reading?
Intrinsically.
Well, it's both. Was she intrinsically motivated or extrinsically motivated? She was both. She was extrinsically motivated because she got that positive praise feedback loop. People like her dad and her mom praised her, and then she continued to do it.
But now if she reads books at night,
right,
then it would be pretty much intrinsically.
Right.
Would you agree?
Yes. Yeah. But to get to that point, you gotta go through the weeds. Like,
so what are you gonna do with the kid that doesn't have that natural inclination, let's say math again,
precisely
to be good at math, who's not good at math, who struggles with math,
right?
But no, they have to. Love of learning, love of mathematics.
How are we going to build that intrinsic motivation? Right. And that's my question. Can we build the intrinsic motivation? Well, this is a tool to do so. I believe this is a tool to do so. Because, again, what they're getting is literally nothing. But what you're doing is giving them a tool to get over that discomfort of the failure. Because when you can get past that failure and then start getting those little wins then stack up into praise, and that praise stacks up into a positive feedback loop, and feedback loops grow. And that's really what we're trying to do with these systems, is get kids into positive feedback loops about learning.
But to get back to like what Gamify Education really is, like some people are going to say, oh, it's a gimmick because you're giving these kids these rewards, but that's school. Like, okay, replace an XP token with a Jolly Rancher.
Oh my gosh. I was told in my first classroom management class, literally verbatim, go to Costco and buy a giant bag of Jolly Ranchers. This was what I was told. This is our tool. We're going to use Jolly Ranchers. We're going to feed children like seals. And it works.
Mm-hmm.
It works. Like, but it's not the only way. And it's
nor is it a good way.
Right.
Like, I firmly believe we should not be giving kids sugar all the time in school.
So this leads me to quote corner.
All right.
Are you ready to play?
Let's do it.
All right, here we go.
Okay, I got to retrain my brain a little bit because I watched so many sports movies that I could see an actor saying these things. I got to go like, okay, just like Mr. Lamberson's movie characters.
Hilarious. Now, here's where you're going to start playing games, and I can see your brain. He's giving me 2 reels.
No, I know.
Is he going to give me a 3rd reel?
Are they all going to be real?
Is he going to give me a reel? Okay, I thought that you would. A true thinker. Here we go. Here's the quote. If you want to change things in a big way, then you're going to have to make some big changes.
This one seems movie.
Correct.
All right.
He's got 2 points. So this
you'll have to guess it. Do I get a bonus?
Yeah, bonus. You can
Have
name
I
either
seen this movie?
Possibly, but you definitely know the character. The character's in the zeitgeist.
Say it again.
Do you want me to do a voice?
Yes.
Okay. If you want to do change... Oh, sorry. That was really bad. I'm going to cut that. If you want to change things in a big way, then you're going to have to make some big changes.
That sounded like Sylvester Stallone.
Oh, good. It came off. Good. Okay, good. I knew it wasn't great. It was not great, but...
That was it?
That was the quote, yeah. If you want to change things in a big way.
Was it Rocky?
The character, I'll give you the point for the bonus point. It was Rocky, yes, but it's from Creed 2.
Oh, okay.
And so I don't know if you've seen Creed 2. I think the Creed movies are good. I enjoyed them.
I don't watch a lot of movies.
I know you don't. But.
Too much of a time commitment.
All right. So I'm trying to create kind of a theme with these. I don't know if you've noticed so far. So I think that this one plays perfectly into what we're talking about. It's like we're not trying to do the same thing in a new way.
Say the quote again.
All right. If you want to change things in a big way, excuse me. If you want to change things in a big way, then you're going to have to make some big changes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so teachers, okay, if you are struggling teaching in 2026 than you were in 2016,
right?
You need to make a big change.
We can't keep doing the same thing and then expecting a different result. The times have changed, and like gamification is a way to bring kids into learning. Pure and simple. It works. I have now seen it, and I think I've said this before, but I have now seen it across multiple platforms. Here is the big caveat. You need to have a little bit of time to do it. Because like for you, for instance, in middle school, I want you to speak to your experience now with your first year of trying to use gamification in the classroom. Or maybe we should save this Do you want to save this for a different episode? I can cut.
Are we going to ever talk about the challenges of setting up a classroom game?
Yeah, absolutely.
Then we should probably save it.
Okay. Then we're going to leave that as foreshadowing. I'm not going to cut this.
All right.
That'll be a great foreshadowing because
let me give just a snippet.
Sure.
There, okay.
Sure.
So I come from teaching 5th grade with you, and
Yes.
we were playing a classroom game for 3 years or something, 2.5,
No, yeah. I think
3.5,
something like
I
that.
don't know. So I was so used to being able to have XP tokens and gold coins at my disposal.
Right.
And that was what a lot of the behaviors centered on.
Right. Are the tools that you had to manage behaviors.
Mhm.
Yeah, sorry.
So
I want to
that
clarify.
was wrong. Yes, these were the tools that I had to manage the desired outcomes, right?
Right.
So first day of teaching middle school, I have a course syllabus, and on the back it says, okay, get this signed. And one of the kids is like, well, what if I don't get this signed? Do I have to? And I know some teachers that they put that in the grade book,
Right.
which is probably not a Gamify Education podcast topic, but I'm not
But
sure.
it is a Mr. Lamberson and Mr. Becker subject of passion podcast. And so this is a podcast about games or education. And that is a topic of education. So.
All right. So if you have these learning objectives, surely you did not write getting the syllabus signed as a course objective, right? So
Right.
how does that go in as a grade?
Right.
Okay, so for me personally, I can't put that in the grade.
Right.
And I'm also not handing out Jolly Ranchers.
Right.
So I guess I could give them, like, a lot of schools have these bucks that they use,
Yes.
like
Famously.
bear bucks or Becker bucks or
Yes.
things like that.
I had them when I first started teaching, Lamberson dollars.
And I could have done that. I could have given these students that.
Yeah.
And I probably should have. But that's not necessarily fun. I mean, and some kids they love them, and some kids they kind of hoard them.
Yeah.
And I'm not knocking that system.
It's tried and true. People have been using the classroom economy type systems for forever now.
But in that moment, I was lost. I'm like, well, I'm not going to give you a grade, child. And I don't know if he ever returned that course syllabus because
Right.
he realized he didn't have to.
Right. So he just probably threw it away immediately. So that's the
That's it.
okay. So
I was a teacher without the tools
right.
that I was used to having.
So you have, and I'll just throw this. You have kind of adapted a lot of what we do in almost like very unique ways to fit your unique situation. And I think that's what I want to talk about is how you've adapted the tools that we developed for kind of a more generous time period
Yeah.
to your very rigid 47-minute period schedule that you have for your however many classes that you teach at middle school. Because it's not completely lost, but it does not look like it looked like in 5th grade that we had.
Not at all. I mean, if I were an elementary teacher, like, you're always kind of looking for maybe like a 5-minute thing here or a 5-minute thing there.
Sure.
Like, because you have the kids all day long.
Right.
And you need these little breaks. And middle school is the complete opposite, like right now, with my structure. But if I taught like a block math class, all of a sudden I'm playing the same type of game that I did back in 5th grade.
Right. It just really depends on, like, you just need X amount of time.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's not 47 minutes to do a full game,
No.
but it's like maybe an hour and 10 minutes. Like,
And right.
maybe
and when
an
you,
hour.
Yeah.
Like-
and when you say that, it's like 47 minutes. Like, we honestly don't have the time to do much of anything
Right.
compared to having the full day to intersperse these things.
Right.
But first of all, is that middle school kids want to play a game too.
Right.
Like they do like
Right.
competition. This is not just like a third, fourth grade thing.
Right.
And I know this because I just had a student teacher,
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't want to put any pressure on her of implementing Gamify Education
Yeah, absolutely.
cornerstones on her.
Right.
But the thing that I was doing, and this has worked very well, is I make my own little escape rooms.
Right.
And it's all like a tabletop escape room. There's pictures involved, and there's magnifying glasses, and these kids are earning these tokens to get unique advantages in the game.
Right.
So my student teacher leaves, and then all of a sudden the next day I had two separate kids are like, Mr. Becker, we can play an escape room again. I
Yeah.
said, it's a fantastic idea.
So I have a question for you,
Mm-hmm.
because my role in our relationship is that of like we like tongue in cheek, we joke about it in the book that I'm the oracle from the Matrix. Like I dream big, and then I
Mhm.
predict things, and I look forward, and that's what I do. If a middle school were to say like, okay, here's what seventh grade going to do during advisory, that's the time we're going to use to turn in XP, level characters up. And then during the day, the teachers are going to give out XP for their assignments, and then decide, like in your PLC time, you can decide how much XP you're giving for this learning target or this learning target. And then instead of bucks for your school, you had gold. And then all of a sudden, middle school could be a jam. Would it be too much?
Oh yeah.
Would it be impossible?
I don't like to use the word impossible. Would it work with the middle school of 800, 900 kids? I mean, you would have to have like a full time
Sure.
like position to do it. Could it work? Yeah.
How many middle schools,
would it be
though-
the coolest school ever? Yeah.
Yeah. How many middle schools, though, have positions where there's a person who does a job that no one's sure what their job is?
Well, not at my middle school.
Okay. But how many middle schools hypothetically out there have a person who's doing a job, like mine? Like people in my school know what I do, but like my job is one where like I'm not a classroom teacher. I'm not teaching students
Right.
like lessons. I'm not pulling students for groups, that type of thing. How many people have a job where like the public doesn't understand what this job is, or they don't know what this job is, and that job could be transformed into something like this?
I think the bigger issue is honestly like middle school teachers. Like, I don't think they would want to do it. And the reason I say that is because this is a trend of a lot of teachers. I think part of it is they're not quite aware of the lack of knowledge some of these students are having. And I'm trying to choose my words very carefully.
Sure.
Mr. Lamberson. So they aren't necessarily that motivated to change.
Okay.
Because why change when something is working?
Right. It's kind of like, me getting all my A's in math in high school.
Mm-hmm.
That was a great system for them because there was very little accountability to the practice, right?
But if we are completely honest with ourselves, right, then we have to find a measure of effectiveness.
Right.
And if we don't have that measure and the classroom's behaviors aren't out of control, then I don't think that there's going to be teachers that are jumping at the chance to create a middle school that is that is playing a school-wide game.
So I don't know the answer to this. How many middle schools out there do you think that are small? Like, 80 to 200 kids. I bet that there are, thousands of them.
Well, I mean, think about not just public schools.
Right.
Think about
Private schools.
for
absolutely.
sure.
And so like in a setting like that, where you might have one teacher teach
Mhm.
half of sixth grade, this would be absolutely money. Where you got one teacher who teaches 3 periods of sixth grade. They're teaching, math, science, and then an exploratory or something like that. This would be a jam.
And I think that is really what we're trying to do with Gamify Education.
Yeah.
Right? We are trying to bring the fun back to the classroom.
Absolutely. Yeah.
It just seems like we're so stressed out. Okay. I heard a stat recently. It said that they surveyed teachers in California,
Okay.
and they asked the teachers, they said, okay, in 10 years, are you going to be a teacher? And 50% of them said that no, I'm going to retire or I'm going to find a new career. 50% of current teachers in California.
So I'm going to ask you a question, Mr. Becker.
Mhm.
In 10 years, are you going to be a teacher?
Oh my goodness. I don't think in 10 years I could be in the exact same position as I am right now.
Sure.
This is a lot.
Yeah.
I need something that is because I got to be fiery all day long. I got to be ultra sarcastic with these 13-year-old children so that they don't run over me. And that's how I'm surviving right now. And I think I'm doing a very good job at it. My students are learning, they're showing a lot of growth type of thing. But that is, I feel like, wearing me out in a sense. And because I don't have that same classroom game that I had, that we had if not daily, weekly moments in which they saw me in a different light.
Yeah.
It was no longer real strict, high academic performance, Mr. Becker. It was oh my goodness, he created this game and now he's trying to get himself into the game so that we can battle each other.
Right.
And they did look at me as a different person.
Sure.
And I think I said this before on an earlier podcast, but it's this idea of if you want, and it goes with the coach in Miracle, it really does. He was able to get so much out of his players because at one point they said but we're a family.
So real quick, just because I don't know if that's ever going to make it into anything.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Mr. Becker's favorite movie of all time is Miracle, the 2003 biopic about
the 1980 U.S. Olympic hockey team.
Of course, yes. And I joke that it's hilarious because it's about a coach who thinks that the way that he does things, it's a new, innovative way to do things that's going to be right, and everyone doubts him. And then he spends 2.5 hours just yelling at his team, and then they win, and then he's right. And so,
yeah.
But anyways,
winning,
sorry, I cut
the greatest underdog story in sports history.
All right, I cut you off. Finish your thought about this goes back to Miracle.
That he was able to get so much out of his players, right? And he was so hard on his players. But at the end of it, he was able to do it because he created this culture. He created a culture in which they were going to get a new player, and which meant one of their current players, I think, was going to get off the roster. And the team captain or something, I have all these facts wrong, but it's been a while since I watched a movie. But the team captain or whatever goes to the coach and says, no, you can't do this. And the coach is like, why not? And he's like, because we're a family. And he created that. So creating that culture in which it is high expectations, and yet now the students are buying into it. They're buying into what the teacher is saying.
Yeah.
That's how kids grow 1.5 to 2 years in a year.
Right. And this is a tool that we've created that helps to do that. It helps facilitate that.
Do you see yourself in the same position in 10 years?
The exact same position?
In education?
Oh, just in education in general?
Either one.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, I'm a very, very optimistic person. I could honestly go teach 5th grade, like close the door and live like live happily ever after for the rest of my life. Find a 5th grade position somewhere. That's not what I want to do, though. What I see, like every move that I make, I want it to be for helping more people. And so, like when I was a classroom teacher, I could help 20 to 30 students. And we've had this conversation before. Like you have the same value. Like I could help 20 to 30 students at a time. And like I really think like moving to the position I'm at right now, I have like real data to show that I have positively impacted a school. And so now instead of impacting 20 to 30 students for the better, I am helping anywhere from 380 to 410 students a year. I mean, what would I want to help everyone. Like that's really my goal. Like, so in 10 years, do I see myself in education? Yeah. Could it be seeing myself in education, helping adults so that they help more kids so that we end up impacting millions? Yeah, that would be the goal. Like
But isn't this kind of why we're doing what we're doing right 100%,
now? Yes. Because I want to help kids. When you know, as funny and silly as mission statements are, because we talked about it, they're a thing. I'm going to leave that big sigh in there. They're a thing, right? In education right now, everyone's got to agree to the mission statement and that type of thing. But we do have a mission statement for our company, and our third partner to our company, the silent partner, he is big on creating a mission statement because he comes from the corporate world, and he said we need to have this thing. And so we by the way, he's not a secret. His name's Devin Farrell. He's a great guy. He's our computer programmer. He's helping to make some tools to help facilitate making the transition to gamifying your classroom easier. And then some awesome like online learning games as well. Just great guy. But anyways, our mission is, empowering all students to become the best version of themselves. We're here for kids. And I think the best way to help the most kids is by helping the adults first. Because we've got to make a positive change to make the lives of the adults easier, and that's going to help make students' lives easier.
For sure. I mean, it's not magic. I mean,
no.
If we can convince teachers who see a problem and then try to work at the problem so that it becomes better than what it was before, like that students are going to buy into that. Now all of a sudden there's more students at grade level. There's more students in honors track classes. There's more students that are being successful in school. I mean, you are changing the trajectory of lives.
Right.
And that was, so I got a chance to actually teach your son.
Yes.
Right. And what a unique and just like awesome, but at the same time, like this is kind of like high stakes responsibility.
Yeah.
When all of a sudden you are teaching somebody's child that you know very well.
Right.
And I wish more teachers, and myself included, like to look at each of these students in the eyes and be like, man, what if that was like my good buddy's kid?
Right.
Like how much would I do for that?
Yeah. Yeah.
And these kids, it's everybody's.
Right.
It's everybody's kid.
Everybody is someone's good buddy's kid.
Exactly.
We're going to stop right there.